Hi guys, I am joining my very first game jam. I have picked the GameDev TV one, which is a 10-day jam. Now I'm going to have 5 days where I've got a day off work so I can do lots of hours, and then 5 days where I'm at work, I'm only going to have a few hours. So what I'm planning to do is probably daily devlogs. Today is a full day, so this first video is how I've got on with my first day. The GameDev TV Game Jam of 2025 has started. It kicked off late last night in my time. The theme has been revealed and it is Tiny World. So this obviously is quite creative. There's loads of different things you can do with that. But my problem for me is that this is my first game jam. I'm still pretty new. And what I was hoping is I want to be able to do one of these kind of classic games and somehow fit it into the theme. Now, what I always do when I'm starting a game is basically start with the artwork, because my problem is I'm not an artist, and so I have to work with what I've got. So I came across this and this. So we got a world here which is showing all these different kind of, like, I guess biomes in a way, and then there's like an individual planet showing that particular one. And this made me think of maybe an asteroids type game where you've got this planet like this, and then you have to shoot it, but rather than blowing it up and just blowing it up, it's kind of splitting into these tiny worlds, each with their own little biomes or something like that. So that's my plan. I'm going to call it Asterworlds. I've just got a blank project at the moment with a game manager script in it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can reuse some of my bits and pieces from Toasty Tumble. So in here, I think I can probably reuse some of this. So this is like the main menu where you've got like the panel with the menu buttons and stuff. I created an audio manager class, which has got things like fading in a music track, playing individual clips. Now obviously this would all need to change because they're all event driven based on that particular game, but the kind of concept is there, so I can probably reuse something. And what I'm going to do with this is, for every other game that I've done so far, I've started by building the game concept first, and this is what most people would do. They kind of prototype it first, but I'm fairly confident I can build an asteroids game. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to do the boring stuff first. So I'm going to build out the main menu options screen and all that kind of shit first before I do the main game and see how I go there. But this is my amazing game as it looks right now. I literally have nothing but a background. But what I'm doing is I'm creating the page on itch early. So I have changed the project file to a web build, and I've already done an initial build of the game so that I can upload it directly to itch so I can test it out. So what I've done here is I've just copied the settings for my Toasty Tumble. I remember it took me ages to kind of mess around with the height, with the sizes here to get this to look right. Obviously I haven't published this page, so it's in draft mode so nobody can see it, but I can actually run it. And so if I run the game now, it does absolutely nothing but show the space background. Now that looks interesting. This is cut off, even though this is full size. So yeah, maybe that's something I need to look into. This doesn't look right to me. I have a title screen. So what I've decided to do with this game is start with the boring stuff first. So rather than like panicking at the end of the jam thinking, oh my god, I've still got to do like a UI and a title screen and settings and all that stuff, I want to do it first. So at the moment these buttons don't do anything, but they're there. Now what I've done with this graphic, so as well as like all my planets, I found this other graphic which was a world which had kind of bits of all these different things on it. So what I thought I could do was, this is a game of asteroids basically, and instead of having like a rock which you just break into smaller rocks. I wanted the idea of you've got this world which you're breaking into smaller worlds to kind of fit the tiny world theme. But what I want to do is kind of like, you've got this big world here, and the idea of it is actually been corrupted. So what I've done here is I've taken, like, I've got extra bits of volcanoes on there. I've got more of these vines and twisty trees. I've kind of like darkened everything to make it kind of try to kind of look a little bit more corrupt. Obviously, I'm not an artist, so this is a bit rough. But it's the best I could do given what I have. And then the idea is, when you blast that world, it will split off into like these individual types of planets. It kind of like, you've got this special beam which you can split it out, and then what you want to do is you want to destroy the ones which are the corruptions, so like the volcano one and this kind of like twisty one, leaving the others to thrive. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. At the moment, I have absolutely no game whatsoever. I've literally just got a title screen, but I think I'm quite happy with this. I think this looks okay. I'm actually going to go again. I'm going to start with the stuff which is not so necessary. So I'm going to go and find a soundtrack. I'm going to hook up the settings. I'm going to get my audio mixer and slider and all of that kind of crap in there. I'm going to do all of that first before I even start on the game. So you might think I'm crazy, but I know that I will find working on the game so much more fun than this stuff. And I know that my kind of like enthusiasm level is going to be highest at the start. So I'd rather do the stuff I dislike at the start, so that as I progress through the jam and I've got less time and maybe I'm feeling a little bit burned out, I'll still be kind of invigorated as such by doing the actual game itself. So I'm trying to kind of manage my own kind of mental energy as well as the time, if that makes sense. So that's how I'm approaching this jam. I'll see how it goes at the end. It's 6 p.m. on the first day of the jam, and I still have not started doing anything on the actual game, but I do have some music now. I'm going to turn that right down. I've got a little sound effect on the click. This doesn't do anything yet, but you can sort of hear it. But now what I've got is, if I close the game and then rerun it, it's going to save those settings. So now it's remembered my sound settings from before. I might have that even quieter. And this should work on itch as well. So if somebody comes and plays the game and then they sort of play it again another time, it should remember their sound settings in here. So this one is the master slider. So if I turn that right down, the click is very quiet. So yes, I've got that high. I didn't feel the need to have a third slider for the sound effects. So this is it. That's all I've got so far. But at least now I've got all of this crappy stuff out the way. All of this and doing the sounds and everything took me ages, because I've done the sound manager, the audio manager, a little bit different to how I did it in my last game. But to be fair, I like the way this looks. I'm pleased with the GUI. I'm pleased that I've got that sound settings working. I like this piece of music, so I'm going for something with kind of like a chill vibe, because my version of Asteroids is going to be not so much blowing things up, but you're going to be kind of trying to save the world in a way, save these little tiny worlds which are going to get spawned off. So I want something a little bit more relaxed. So it's coming to the end of the first day. I could start doing some more work on the game, spend a few hours getting stuck in, but I don't want to do that on my first day. I'm feeling a little bit burned out from this stuff. I think what I'm going to do now over the next couple of hours, obviously I'm going to get this stuff edited, uploaded onto YouTube. I'm going to go onto itch, maybe play a few Asteroids games just to get some inspiration, like in the same way I did for Flappy Bird. Might watch some tutorials. I'm just going to chill out for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow is a work day, so I'm only going to have a few hours. But yeah, that is it for my first day on my first game jam. Thanks very much for watching, guys.